Crystron is back on top. Hello guys and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, we are taking a look at Crystron K9. And yeah, honestly, this deck is kind of interesting. Mostly due to the fact that because of the Crystrons also being 5s, you gain access to a lot of useful additional cards to utilize both with the K9s and the Crystrons, just kind of giving you ease of access to both of them. And a lot of that is thanks to the fact that there are some very powerful rank 5s available to both engines, which is pretty cool. But on top of that, there's a bunch of other things that we can do, and yeah, that's... I mean, you can probably see we're playing Spell Canceller. We're doing some interesting things here. But we're going to quickly go through the card by card and the explanations. We're going to start off here with the K9s. It's pretty simple. We're playing the full K9 package, the Azunas, the Jokels, a Lantern, a Lupus, 3 Noir, as well as 3 Case. And then we're also even playing a Chaotic Elements. To be fair, I'm actually not too big of a fan of this card. It only searches Jokel and Lantern, which is not bad, to be fair. But for the most part, it's not exceptional. And I think you could instead just play an additional hand trap. But I like having it. I think it's an additional just name, which is pretty nice. You could also just play more Crystrons as well. That's also an option to you. As for the Crystrons, we're actually playing a smaller package. To be fair, you can cut things like Spell Canceller and Chaotic Elements and a few other names here or there and play more of a Crystron package. It's up to you. That being said, we are playing the 1 Tristaros and the 1 Smiger. And then we're also playing 2 Sulfenir as well as 3 Sulfador. The reason for this is pretty simple, but they pair well with Jokel. They also pair well just in general because they are 5s and have the ability to special summon themselves, which is pretty solid. Notably, though, Sulfador, if you use its effect to special summon itself, does lock you into machines, and there's a bunch of other machine locks within the Crystron stuff, so you kind of have to play around those machine locks and make sure that you do all of the K9 stuff prior to getting those machine locks. That being said, though, that's pretty much it for the Crystron and K9 cards. The rest of the cards are either search targets or hand traps, right? We have Scrap Recycler, which is how you get into the the Crystron stuff off of the K9 cards, which is pretty cool. I'll show you the combo later. And then we're also playing Spell Canceller. You can actually just summon this pretty effectively and pretty easily. There's a bunch of different ways to do it. So it's pretty nice. It's pretty good. But that's pretty much it. As for the rest of the cards, there's hand traps, Droll, Maxi, Ash, Droll, Maxi, Fua, Go Spell. Not playing Ash Blossom. We're playing instead Imperm and the Nibiru's. The reason we're not playing Ash Blossom is because it's just terrible. It's just so bad, dude. You could play it, obviously. I just don't think it's necessarily worth it. So there's that. As for the rest of the cards here, we are playing in the extra deck the F.A. Dawn Dragster as well as the Skeletus. I've seen many variations on the Crystron line that either go all the way to playing like Quarion and more synchros in general, playing like Citrian, stuff like that. And I've seen some literally only playing F.A. Dawn Dragster and not even playing the Skeletus. Both work. I don't think both are great. What was the thing? I prefer having both a Skeletus and F.A. Dawn Dragster, and that seems to be the general consensus. And the reason for this is because a Skeletus allows you to add back the cluster from the grave, so you can actually send it to the graveyard off of Sulfador and then still add it back pretty easily. So that means you gain access to just more of the Crystron line. On top of that, this paired with the cluster gives you an additional destruction, which is also very nice. As for the rank 5s, we're playing a bunch. We're playing Nova, as well as its counterpart in Infinity. We're playing River Stormer, which says detach a material to add an Earth Machine monster from your deck to your hand, which is nice. You could also send it to the graveyard. But notably, this is how we get to Scrap Recycler, which then sends the Smiger, which does the combo from there. It also sends any machine, to be fair. So there's that. On top of that, you can also tribute a machine link monster to special summon this card from grave, which is pretty important as well, which I'll get into in a second. We're also playing King Kiri, I don't know, the Imperial Princess Quinn. This card says detach a material to target a level 5 in either grave and special summon it to either field. This is the card that you would utilize to get Spell Canceller after having sent it to the graveyard off of Scrap Recycler. That's how we're getting the Spell Canceller. On top of that, if a face-up level 5 monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, is destroyed by battle or leaves the field by an opponent's card effect, while you control this monster, you can add or special summon a level 5 monster from the deck. There you go. It's a solid effect. It rarely comes up, but it's nice. We're also playing the Ripper, the Valon, and the Werewolf, pretty standard. And then, of course, it's Zeus and Typhon. We're playing a few Link monsters, Clockwork Knight, which is pretty solid. Notably, it has this additional effect where it can target a 1000 attack point monster or less, machine monster, sorry, tributing another machine to special summon it. Now, notably, there's an important machine in the K9 deck, which is Noir. Noir gives you another machine. It's an earth machine, and it gives you just an additional way to like tribute things or utilize for other such cards like the next card, Platinum Gadget. But alas, it's another additional thing that you get to utilize with the K9s and the Crystrons. So they work together very well. It's very nice. Speaking of which, we have Platinum Gadget, which says during the main phase, you could special summon a level 4 lower machine from hand. So you'd search it off of the River Stormer, then use Noir and the River Stormer to go into the Platinum Gadget, which would then special summon out the Scrap Recycler, sending Smiger. That's generally what it does. Then we have... oh my gosh, excuse me. Then we have the Star Leader Dragon. I'm not going to try and say that first part, which allows you to special summon a monster from the hand with the same original level. This is just another way to get like a 5 onto the field. That's pretty much it. It's just like a guy. It can't be used as link material, but again, that's not that big of a deal. It's mostly just used to get that additional guy onto the field to set up things like Spell Canceller. And then we are also playing the SP Little Knight. And that's it for the deck. Let's hop into the replays and show you how this deck performs. Alrighty, here we are electing to go second. My opponent has decided to go second, which is kind of interesting. So we'll see what we can accomplish here. Out comes the Roach, of course the Roach. Also, by the way, shout out to this person just being the absolute worst. You'll see why they're even worse than just their name entails. That's okay. We're going to see what we can accomplish here. They do have the Ash Blossom. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Not too big of a concern. I elect to not droll here for a pretty important reason. I'm going to try and search out the Azana here. So, yeah. Now we have the Azana in tandem with the Ripper, which is pretty good. And since they've activated the effect, we can actually set an additional card here as well. I actually grab Force Release. I don't know why I do this. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, not that big of a deal, to be fair. My opponent goes for the Hornet Drones. I'm going to go for my own Max Cockroach. So they're going to special summon here, and I'm like, cool. Let's see what they can accomplish. Out comes Songen summoning, and I'm like, okay, interesting. I'm going to attempt to destroy the field spell. Obviously, they have Impulse. What can you do? I also draw a Nib here, which is pretty funny. Oh, yeah, this is why, you know, of course, this individual decides to change their name to this. Yeah, these are just the worst people. You'll see them get absolutely owned, and it will be very rewarding. They search the Pydra. They're going to then pitch the Pydra to the graveyard. I'm like, okay, that's very interesting. I'm actually going to elect to droll here for a simple reason. I'm pretty sure they have Fodra, and if they have Fodra and then they go for the Pydra, they're not going to be able to do anything. So, yeah, they had to draw the one-of. But of course they did. Not only did they draw one-of, they draw two one-ofs. So, yeah, seems fair. Regardless, actually, they drew 3 because they also drew Maxi. So, coolio. Regardless, out comes the Genroku, and I'm like, yeah, okay. They activate the effect of the Genroku, and hey, that's a card for me to Ripper, so yeah, no, that's just not happening. I'm almost 1000% certain that they have the Chandra in hand, so, there it is. That's 4 one-ofs in their opening hand. Man, I love Tenpai. What a good deck. Anyway, it's fine, I had the Imperm. So alas, they can't do anything. Imagine if I didn't have the Imperm. Imagine if I just lost that game immediately like that because I can't do anything. Anyway, I draw a case for K9 off the top. Didn't really matter. I still had the Zana and the ability to use the Quick Play, so it was pretty good. Anyway, good game. All right, here we are going first, and wow, this hand is really terrible, but that's okay. We're just going to immediately pass the turn to my opponent, and hey, Maxi Foolos Nib is not terrible. Could be worse. Anyway, out comes the Rhoda. Sure. Why not? Out comes Raisin. Raisin effect is going to activate. They are going to search out the Holly Sue, and I'm like, sure. I elect for, instead of activating the Maxi, the reason I don't is actually because I want to bait them into going and playing into Nibiru. So I actually just wait. It's like, okay, I'll just wait. That's fine. They're gonna add back the Raisin. I'm like, sure. Out comes the Holly Sue, revealing the Raisin, and now I go for the Maxi. They have the Azana, Coolio. Now they could immediately go Ripper here, and they do elect to. I'm like, okay, yeah, there's nothing I can realistically do about that, but I noticed they put it in defense position. And here's the thing, because I passed so quickly, I'm almost certain that they forgot that it's turn 2. Oops. They grabbed the Azana, and then they passed the turn. And I'm like, yeah, of course they forgot. So, at this point, I'm going to activate the Fuwa Loss. They are going to negate with Ripper for some reason. Okay, cool. Awesome. Out comes Tristaros. They are going to activate the effect of their Forced Release, which is fine. I'm just going to tag out into the Skeletus, and of course they're going to pop it, but that's not that big of a deal, because guess what? It comes back. Hip hip hooray. They're also going to elect to banish the Jokel. Now, here's the thing. I had already normal summoned. If they had simply banished the Sulfador, I can't do anything. I'm cooked. Like, it's just game over. There's nothing I can do here. But alas, they didn't. Okay, cool. Fantastic. They're going to also special summon the Lupus here, which is fine. But now we can actually go for the Sulfafnir, which summons out the Smiger, and then my opponent concedes. Now, you might be like, wait a second. Why did they do that? Oh, actually, it was time limit. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, it was time limit. They didn't concede. It was time limit. The amount of time limit losses that have shown up is crazy. I don't know what else to say. It's just insane. Insane. Alrighty, here we are once again going first. We're going to once again start with the Fuwa Loss. Actually, I lied. We're going to start with Chaotic Elements to grab a Jokel. And then we're going to go for the Jokel here. We're going to reveal the Sulfador. I guess I'll just keep the Fuwa Loss. It doesn't really matter to, have it. We're going to send it to the graveyard, specifically Cluster and Smiger here. So we are going to then add the Lantern to our hand off of the Jokel, and then Smiger effect is going to activate, and we're going to add it to our hand the Inclusion. Fantastic. From here, we can then utilize both of these monsters to go into Ripper, and Ripper is going to detach the Jokel since we grabbed Lantern. Now we can grab the Izuna. Here we can activate the Lantern effect in order to special summon back the Jokel, and then activate its effect to grab up Case. From here, activate Case, searching out the Noir, and then we can normal summon it, special summoning the Lupus from deck. We're going to send the Lupus to the graveyard to reveal the opponent's hand. The only hand trap that they had was Ash. So, yeah, doesn't really matter too much here. We're going to go for the River Stormer to grab the Scrapper Cycler here, and then we're going to go for the Platinum Gadget. Platinum Gadget effect is going to special summon out the River Stormer, or sorry, not the River Stormer, the Scrapper Cycler, which is going to send it to the graveyard. I send Sulfenir. To be fair, normally what you would do is you would send Smiger, but we already had the ability to send Smiger, so that's okay. We're going to go for the Clockwork Knight, tributing off the monster that can't be used as link material to summon out the Scrapper Cycler. They elect to Ash here. Now, here's the thing. This is a smart idea because they are playing Gem Knights. So, by cutting me off of Spell Canceller, they can use spells, which is pretty good, right? The problem is I still have Spell Canceller, so it's not that big a deal. So I just let it resolve. Out comes the River Stormer. We're going to summon out this guy. And then I do make a mistake. I go for the SP Little Knight here. I should not have gone SP Little Knight here. This is a mistake. Don't do this. I needed to go for the Star Leader Dragon so that I can get the Spell Canceller out of my hand. Bad on my part. I don't do that. Anyway, out comes the Zana. Zana is going to send a guy. We're going to go for the Lupus here. We're going to special summon it. And then we're going to link off into the Armile. And then summon out the guy here. It doesn't matter. We're going to go for the Spell Canceller, special summon it. And now we can pitch one in order to summon back the Sulfenir, which then allows me to set the Force Release. You might be like, why are we setting Force Release? Well, if they do actually have the answer to Spell Canceller, we can just actually utilize it. I don't know. Again, to be fair, I should still have SP here, and I should utilize these two to go into SP from this position, which gives me that additional piece of interaction that normally I should have, but alas, I don't, and now I feel stupid. Anyway, it's fine. It's not that big of a deal, except for the fact that it's a big deal. Anyway, out comes the Nepa Rim, which we saw earlier. Out comes Doug. Doug is going to draw 2, discard 1. Out comes the Glow Up Bulb. They're going to pitch another one. That's fine. Out comes it. Out comes the SP Little Knight. They're going to activate the effect and banish the back row. I think this may have been a mistake. I don't think that they actually wanted to do that. I think they wanted to click the Spell Canceller. But then again, they could have actually just not wanted us to have forced release. I don't know. Anyway, I think what they're trying to do is... Yeah, I don't know. At least here, I think what they're trying to do is bait the Ripper. But I'm, of course, going to wait for a either Tier or a Gem Knight. Right? They're going to go for Moon. I'm like, okay, yeah, cool. Makes sense. Yep. Out comes Requiem. Sure. Activate the effect of the Requiem. Summon out What's Her Bucket. What's Her Bucket is going to then send to the graveyard the Engraver. And they're going to activate the Engraver. Of course I'm going to Ripper that. Of course I am. They're going to set a card and pass the turn. Now, here's the thing. I know Scream was in hand. The other two cards, I do not know. Right? I think everything else was all public knowledge. Oh, no, sorry. I know for a fact that they drew the Mudora. All of the rest of the cards were already known. Right? So they have they have two unknowns in hand. Or I guess, to be fair, one of them could be Scream, and this could be an unknown. But, again, it's Gem Knight, it's Tier, they're heavily reliant on spells, or more specifically, the Gem Knight stuff is. So, yeah, cutting them off of spells was a good idea. That's why I went for the Spell Canceller line, and it was due to the Noir. But now we can just go for the Cyber Dragon Infinity, and at this point, the game is pretty much locked up. Yeah, Armile also has the ability to do that again. We could also utilize our Imperial, I don't know, the Queen, in order to bring back another 5, which is also pretty solid. So there you go. And we are back with the deck, and here's the thing. Spell Canceller, I don't actually think is all that worthwhile to go for. And a lot of that is due to the fact that if you were to cut the Spell Canceller line and instead just do the standard Crystron K9 line, you still end with a very powerful end board with multiple negations, especially Spell Trap interaction, and you also gain the just more consistency, right? Because you're not playing the Spell Canceller. So overall, I feel like it's okay. It's not great. That's all. That being said, though, overall, the Crystron K9 stuff is fine. I don't think it's any better than the K9 Vanquish Soul stuff, obviously. It has a stronger end board for sure, but it's not necessarily better in the current metagame or in anything really, mostly due to the fact that you are going to lose a lot more games going second due to the fact that the K9 Crystron cards, or the K9 Crystron deck, doesn't specifically have any advantages going second, right? Sure, you get to play more hand traps than that of the Vanquish Soul stuff, but with that being said, you also have way more weaker hands due to the fact that you have to rely on those hand traps, and sometimes a hand trap just isn't going to do anything, right? If you activate Maxi, it could just be Ashed, or Called Bite, or Cross-Outed, or something of that nature, right? And the answer, and that goes for pretty much every hand trap right now. No individual hand trap is really all that great. And so being able to play additional engine pieces to kind of push through enemy boards or to allow you to start playing the game on the opponent's turn is a little bit better just due to the fact that like Ripper and all of the K9 cards kind of exist right now. So for the most part, it's not great to be playing a whole bunch of hand traps. I guess you could be playing something like, you know, the Dominus cards. Those are pretty good hand traps right now due to the fact that they do not trigger the K9s. But other than that, it's not fantastic. Overall, though, I do like the Crystron engine in here. I think it's pretty good. I like all of the different various different cards that you can play, like Vimana, which I don't have in here. And what have you. It's a very cool deck overall. I like the synergies, and Crystron's really interesting. So there's that. That's gonna be it. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope that you guys did indeed enjoy. If you did, a like is very much so appreciated. And remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye.